Hello everyone, Ember Power here, and welcome back to a new video. This one I'm going to be taking a look at some Spidops decks from Scarlet and Violet. So Spidops EX is a 260 HP Stage 1 EX Pokemon, has the ability Trap Territory that says your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is 1 color more. Now this does stack, so if we actually get multiple of these, then we can add additional retreat cost, and this is pretty important because the main attack, Wire Hang, for 1 grass and a colorless does 90 damage, and then 30 more for each energy in your opponent's active retreat cost. So the whole idea is that we want to try and get, 3 or 4 Spidops in play to attack with. And of course, we also have stuff like Leafeon VMAX, which has the exact same attack, but does it 60 times base, and then 60 for each retreat cost. So we can also use Leafeon VMAX to attack with, and then of course we can use stuff like Leafeon V to accelerate energy, and Leafeon V Star gives us a V Star power. So that's kind of like the rundown of a Spidops EX deck. So some new translations just to go over from Scarlet and Violet. Banette EX, Stage 1 EX Pokemon, 250 HP, has the attack Eternal Darkness, does 30 damage, and during opponent's next turn they can't play any items, and then Poltergeist does 60 for each trainer card in their hand. So typically if we see Banette and Poltergeist together, Banette is kind of like the main attacker, and then Spidops is going to be a bit of a support Pokemon. It's going to help with, trapping Pokemon to use Eternal Darkness and Poltergeist. So Banette is kind of here for the Banette decks, I should say, really, but, it's a decent tech card either way. So then we have Mesagoza Stadium on the right here that says, once during each player's turn, that player may flip a coin. If heads, that players may search your deck for Pokemon. So this does see play in some of the decks, just how we get set up, because, you do need a lot of Spidops in play. And that means, obviously, you need to find all the basics as well as the evolutions. We're just going to this first deck list here. It's a Leafeon Spidops deck, playing the Leafeon V-Star as well as the V-Max. So we run 2 copies of the V-Max and then 1 copy of the V-Star. 4-4 line of Spidops, so very heavy on that front. Also play a 2-1 B-Barrel line, which is interesting. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, am I tripping? There's like 1 Bidoof, 2 B-Barrel. Alright, okay. I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah, that's a bit interesting. But yeah, we've got a 1-2 B-Barrel line, I guess. Bit strange, but yeah, that's weird. Anyway, I didn't notice that before. I thought that was like 2 Bidoof, 1 B-Barrel, but apparently not. That's 1 Bidoof, 2 B-Barrel. Also see 1 Radiant Jirachi, which is going to be pretty interesting, to be honest. I don't think you really need to play a Radiant in this deck, and the Radiants that you have to choose from, like, I guess Radiant Dracena is probably going to be a little bit better, or, Radiant Gardevoir to give yourself a bit more tank ability, but you don't really need a Radiant, so this player obviously went for Radiant Jirachi, believing it would be a good choice. Also see 2 copies of Level Ball, 4 copies of the new Nest Ball, which is really good. And then for the rest of the trainer, it's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of players in Japan seem to be latching onto Zinnia's Resolve. I'm personally not a fan of this card, but this player's running 3 copies, so maybe they know something I don't. 1 copy of Jock is pretty questionable as well, but yeah, pretty interesting support account. Also running 2 of the new Mesagoza Stadium, 1 Temple of Sinnoh just to try and control some special energy decks like Lugia, as well as 3 copies of V-God Energy, so we're not very tanky, 260 HP ain't that tanky, so we do need to be taking a bit less damage, gives ourselves a bit more survivability in the metagame, really. And of course, stuff like Lugia as well as Tyranitar can still try and want to kill you. I guess Lugia can't because it loses powerful colorless energy, but Tyranitar could probably get there, as well as Giratina, so we do need to be a bit more tanky. So this next deck is going to be pretty similar to the last one that we just looked at, but this one's not actually playing Leafeon V-Star. It's also playing 2-2 B-Barrel, not 1-2 for some reason. Also playing a thinner line of Spidops to make room for more trainers. So playing a 2-2 line instead of a 4-4. So definitely a lot lighter on the Pokemon, but does mean we can play a lot more different trainers. It also means we can play some more different energy, like the Treasure Energy and the Draw Energy, so that's pretty cool to see. Also a bit more straightforward in the Pokemon search for Nest Ball, for Ultra Ball. Also playing 1 copy of Lure Module, which is super interesting to see. Usually you don't see Lure Module in decks at all, really. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, take any number of Pokemon there, but your opponent gets to do it as well, so it can be a bit counterproductive, but kind of guess help you set up if you think you're going to find Pokemon. But this deck isn't playing that many Pokemon, to be honest, so I'm not a fan of Lure Module. I think Capture Room is just better, to be honest, but yeah, interesting to say the least. I'll see 2 copies of Lost Sweeper, 2 copies of the helmet that says you take 30 less damage, I believe, if this Pokemon this card's attached doesn't have an ability. So I'm pretty sure that's what the full face helmet means. So helmet can only be attached to Leafeon VMAX, and in combination with Leaf God Energy, or V God Energy, I should say, you're taking a lot less damage. So I guess that's the little combo right there. It's also 3 Gardenia, so this is going to be like more of a Gardenia deck, I guess, to help you accelerate some energy. It's not like a true draw engine, but you only need 2 energy regardless, so combination with Raihan should be enough. Thoughts on this list? I think this list is a little bit worse than the one we looked at before. I know it's like a bit more consistent in areas, but I'm not a fan of some of the counts here. I don't think you need trekking shoes. I think that's going a bit too far with this deck, but yeah, I'll have to see. But yeah, I'm not so sure about this one. Next one is going to be more of the same, Leafeon and Spidops, so we don't need to really talk about that too much. But it is playing a 2-2 line of Kricketune. Kricketune from Silver Tempest, I believe, or Lost Origin, says your grass Pokemon have plus 40 HP, so you just bung a Kricketune play, and then all of a sudden, Spidops has 300 HP base, which is pretty cool. You also have, Leafeon VMAX with 350, which is pretty epic, so I kind of like Spidops in that regard. Kricketune, I should say, but, it is pretty decent. There isn't really going to be much in the way of ability lock post rotation, if I remember correctly, because Klefki only shuts off basics. So it will stop Leafeon V, but it won't stop Kricketune. And then Galarian Weezing is, of course, rotating, so Kricketune seems pretty solid, and the opponent will have to gust it up to get a prize card to do so. So, yeah, it doesn't seem that bad overall. Interesting enough, this deck isn't playing any V-God energy. You think it would because you're like leaning into the more tanky side, but yeah, no V-God energy, which is strange. So there isn't any special energy in this deck at all, actually, which is... I'm not sure if I totally agree that's the correct thing to do. You're just playing 11 grass energy, You'd think you'd be playing like Temple of Sinnoh or at the very least Gardenia to make up for that fact, but this person doesn't think it's worth it. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I think this deck is like okay. I don't think plus 40 HP is necessarily going to be what makes this deck good, but it is interesting nevertheless to see that. So this next deck is going to be more of a Banette focused build, so we're attacking with Banette, so we don't have any grass energies, but it is going to be a small Spidops package in there, 2-2 line. So it's just going to allow us to essentially stall out the opponent a bit more while we use Banette to set up more attackers with Poltergeist and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like why this Banette, the Spidops line, sorry, is in there. So we're just trying to like stall for a bit and then build up to the item block. So yeah, pretty cool list overall. I think this is a really interesting one. Also playing like the Pidgeot V and the Radiant Alakazam, which you don't always see. So I think it's a pretty cool list. New Klefki, of course, the one that shuts off basic Pokemon's abilities on your opponent's side of the field. So yeah, I think this is a cool list. It's definitely got some perks. Is it better than the other decks, and is it just better than Spidops? It's not really a Spidops deck as such. It's more of a tech card. But this does kind of highlight something that I do appreciate about the Scarlet and Violet era, is there seems to be a lot of decks that kind of cross and match with each other. So if you really want to play a Spidops deck, you can play Spidops Leafeon. But because you have the Spidops, you can also, craft Banette on PS2 Live, and then you have a Banette Spidops deck as well. So, you get the best of both worlds in that regard. So, yeah, pretty cool to see. This next one is going to be a Zorg Banette deck. Again, we are playing 4 special energy, 6 psychic, I should say. So we're playing different energy, but we're not playing any grass energy. You could have grass energy, I guess, if you really want to attack with Spidops, but you kind of need Raihan for that as well, for that burst potential. So yeah, you can't really attack with Banette, Spidops rather. I keep wanting to say Banette instead of Spidops. But you keep wanting to attack with Spidops, you can't really do that without Raihan, or basically grass energy, so yeah, pretty awkward in that sense. But again, this is more of like a Banette deck as opposed to a Spidops deck. Still rocking stuff like 2 Mighty Enna, which is interesting to see. I guess if Mew starts playing Lost Zone, the Lost Zone City, I should say, then they'll use that to send 1 Mighty Enna to the Lost Zone, so you kind of need 2 copies, but yeah, it's interesting to see. Also got a 3-3 line of Curlier with the trade, like the refinement ability. It's got a card, draw 2 cards, and then 1 copy of Hisuian Bravery, which you don't always see. So super interesting list. To be interested in trying this one out, but yeah, it seems pretty strange. This next one is going to be a Lost Zone Spidops deck, so this is like actually back to Spidops as the main attacker in the deck. Not playing any Mirage Gate though, and only 1 copy of Raihan, which is a bit sketch, so you don't really have any ways of accelerating a Spidops out of nowhere. Like, you can't just power 1 up and go, essentially, so you kind of have to build up to it over time, which is a little bit sketch, but you can, of course, attack with Cramran in the early game, and then move on to something like a Sableye and Spidops in the mid to late game. Is it that good? Because is this deck essentially just worse Giratina? Probably it is just worse Giratina, to be honest. I think Giratina is just a better card overall, but still interesting nonetheless to see. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about Spidops down below, Speed and Power. And yeah, thank you for watching.